switch inside on the dash. You can start it. You can pull that bed. Or the bed, you can reach back and start the generator.
It's just simply pushing the start thing until it kicks in and it starts.
Yeah. Now this is a diesel generator, the diesel motorhome.
Okay.
It runs off the main fuel tank,
Okay.
just like your engine does. Okay. When you go to start it, basically you'll hold the start button, but it's not going to do anything right away. There's a delay. You just hold it until it starts.
Okay.
And it's the same inside. The colder it is outside, the longer it takes. Basically, it's warming up the glow plugs. There's a breaker on it right there as well. It says on and off. You want to be aware of that in case you're got the generator running, the ACs aren't working, or you're not getting the power from it. You want to kind of check your breaker, make sure it's not tripped. And then there's an hour meter right here.
Okay.
And there's one inside to let you know how many hours are on it.
Okay.
We generally service these about every 150 hours, or like once a year. You know, if you don't use it very often. With, you know, oil change and stuff like that.
Right.
Which you can bring it in to do. They will assign you a service rider, which you can call and talk to as far as setting up appointments for maintenance and things like that.
Okay. Yep.
Other than that, there's really nothing else up here for you to mess with.
We might drive it, but we're not. We're going to store it here for a bit.
Okay.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be.
Yeah, how long?
Probably till the 1st of April.
Because there is a minor problem with the windshield wiper system.
Okay.
It's nothing major. It just, when you turn it off, it doesn't park them where it's supposed to be. They just stop in the middle of the windshield.
Okay.
That's a Freightliner issue.
Okay.
So we'll be having to take it over to them to get that fixed.
Okay.
So we can get that done while.
So it'll be here long enough you guys can take care of it? Okay.
Yeah, we'll get it done next week.
Okay. Yeah, that would be great.
That was really the only major thing I found wrong with it so far.
Okay.
Windshield wiper fluid is in here. You do have a light. And you got a air pressure, air supply there.
Okay.
There are some air hoses inside that you can hook into there.
Okay.
Basically, that runs off the compression of the motor, so you'd have to have the engine running.
Not the generator, but the main engine.
Right.
Okay.
Is that to fill up the tires?
Yeah, or whatever.
Inner tube or whatever. Okay.
All right, you can use this for storage as well. There's a fuse box up here. That fuse box just deals with the chassis side. Something you'll probably never need to mess with, but it doesn't deal with anything on the inside. It just has to do with the lights and windshield wipers and stuff like that. Exhaust for the generator. Fuel fill, there's one on both sides. There's only one fuel tank though.
Okay.
So you fill it from either side.
100-gallon tank. Does it take any, I know it's diesel, does it take any special nozzle or just any diesel pump?
Just any diesel pump, yeah. It'll be fine. It also uses DEF, which is diesel exhaust fluid, which you'll have to add. It's an additive.
Okay.
There's a whole separate tank for that on the other side.
I think Daryl showed it to us. Yeah.
All the new diesels are using it now.
Yeah.
It's a 10-gallon tank. It should last somewhere around anywhere between 5,000 and 10,000 miles.
Okay.
It's not something you have to fill up every time you go get gas. Propane. Yeah, propane tank. This one's like 38.
Okay.
You won't actually get 38 gallons of propane in there, but usually fills up about 3/4.
Is there an indicator inside that tells me what the level is?
There's one out here as well.
Oh, right now.
Snaps on there. Yeah, there's one in here, and then there's a digital one inside.
Okay.
It just shows you how full or empty it is. There's a valve here to turn it on and off. Recommend shutting it off when you store it.
The rest of the time it's okay to leave it on?
Yeah, the rest of the time you leave it on. You got appliances like your furnace. This is the furnace here. There's actually 2 furnaces in this unit that run on the propane only. The stove, I believe, in this one also runs on propane. And this one has a residential refrigerator, so it doesn't use propane. It's strictly electric. Yeah, all you have to do is when you go to use it, just turn it on. Make sure it's all storage. That tray slides either way.
Just do the yellow thing.
Yeah, and you can slide it right out.
Okay.
There's a ladder up there that goes on the back. It hangs on the last rung of that ladder back there if you want to get on the roof for any reason. There are lights in here. Right by the entry door, there's a switch for the cargo lights.
Okay.
We turn on all the lights in here.
This is the other furnace?
This is the other furnace. Basically, this unit has one thermostat with 3 zones.
Okay.
So you can set zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, different temperatures. Down here, this way you're going to be hooking up your water. So your main city hookup is right here.
Okay.
You will need like a starter kit or something to get going. It'll come with a water hose, sewer hose, chemical for your black tank, which you'll need to put in whenever you go to take it out. Comes with RV toilet paper and a water pressure regulator, basically. We got one black tank and one gray tank. So the gray tank is a gray handle. This is your sewer drain. So your hose will just go on here, and you can actually run it up through the bottom.
Okay.
Up through here.
Is that the hose right there, or that'll be in the starter kit?
The starter kit will have a different hose.
Oh, okay.
This is the one the manufacturer throws in. It'll work, but it doesn't have like a nozzle on the end that fits in the, fits into the ground, the little elbow.
So when you pull into the RV park and hook this thing up, you plug the one side into the thing on the ground, the other into there, and then do you leave the valves closed and just open them when you want to flush the system?
The gray tank you can open. Okay, that's just your sink water and shower water. Okay, so you don't want your tanks filling up, when you're taking showers.
So you could leave that one open and let them drain.
Just let it drain out. Black tank you can't do that with. It has to have liquid in the tank to work properly. With chemical. So you gotta wait for that to fill up and then drain it.
Like how far filled do you need to have it before you empty it or drain it?
That's up to you. About halfway, 3/4.
That's enough to get it to go. Okay.
Yeah, the reason you want to leave that one open is because all the fluids drain out of the tank and all the solids stick in the bottom. And, it's not good.
Okay.
And it sits in your hose. And it's not good.
So that makes sense.
So yeah, you're gonna have to let it fill and drain. The chemical we provide in the starter kit is like a gel pack. You can just throw one down the toilet, add a little bit of water to it, and it's ready to go.
That's good. Okay.
Make sure you drain that black tank before you put it in storage for an amount of time. When you come back to it, it's going to smell really, really good inside the coach. The cleaner you keep that tank, the better. And when you're draining it, once you drain it out, this has a sewer flush on it. Right here. This is where you hook your water hose up.
So that'll put water that'll force water into the tank through the system to help flush it. And do you just hook the same city hose up on the other one? You can just take it off there, put it on that one? Okay.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it won't backwash or there's like a check valve in there.
Right.
So just make sure that you got the hose on and the tank's open. And then do that, because if it's not open, it's going to start filling the tank, and you don't want to do that.
And I assume there's indicators somewhere that tell me how much fluid's in the tanks, the gray and the black.
Gray and black, and the freshwater tank. So you also have a freshwater tank, which is your own onboard water supply. Basically, this is it down here. You can see it.
Okay.
And there's a drain for it right there, big red knob.
Oh, okay.
So if you want to drain it out when you store it, just open it up, let it drain out.
Okay.
if you're on the road or you're not hooked up to a water hose, you got to use your water pump to give you water pressure inside.
Okay.
Which is just like having the hose hooked up.
It just puts some pressure in the line. Is that what the pump does?
Yeah, it provides your water pressure when you're not hooked up to a hose.
Okay.
So, turn it on when you need it. There's water pump switches all throughout this thing. There's one out here, there's one in the kitchen, there's one in the bathroom.
And they all go to the same pump. There's just one pump for the system. Okay.
Yeah. Like for instance, I can turn this one on here, and I can go inside, and if I hit the button inside, it'll turn on. So you don't have to necessarily come back to the switch.
Is it the kind of deal where you just want to turn it on when you need the pressure, or you don't want to like leave it on all the time?
You can leave it on all the time when you're not hooked to city water.
Yeah.
I mean, it won't do anything because it's once it builds up pressure, it shuts off. It's an on-demand pump.
Oh, it does shut off automatically.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So whenever you open a faucet, you'll hear it tick on.
Yeah.
And when you close it, it'll build up pressure and shut off.
Okay.
If you have a hose hooked up to it, you don't want to have it on
Right.
because you don't need it. Okay, so if you want to fill that fresh water tank, you have your city water hooked up here. There's a bypass valve here. It says fill tank or bypass.
Okay.
Okay. If I turn it to fill tank, it's going to divert this water and start filling your tank up.
Okay. Otherwise, it bypasses the tank and just goes right into the system.
Correct.
For the things. Okay.
Yeah. So you got to make sure you turn it back once you fill the tank. Put it back, or you won't have any water pressure.
Okay.
The water pump will just be running. It's just
And
cycling water through itself. It's always running. So yeah, make sure you put it back.
Okay.
That's just one way to fill the tank. There's a gravity fill right here.
Oh, okay.
There's actually one of these on both sides.
Okay.
And they go to the same tank. So you can just stick your hose in there and turn it on
Okay.
and fill it up that way as well.
Okay.
Water heater bypass is only used for winterizing, which we don't really do much here in Texas.
Right.
All we really do here is when we've got a hard freeze coming, it's going to be more in a few days, is just drain all the water out of the system.
Okay. Is the water heater a water tank, or is it like a... It is a tank.
It is a tank.
Okay. Do you know how big it is? What size?
Check it when we go around. It's probably at least 10 gallons.
Okay.
Might be 12. Have to look. But yeah, it is a tank. And it runs off of, you can run it on electric or propane.
Okay.
So whenever you're plugged in outside, you know, you want to run it on electric. Right. It's not something you have to have running while you're traveling down the road. Just wherever you get to where you're going, you can turn it on.
Okay.
Then it'll heat up pretty quick.
And then it stays hot for a while, I would guess, once it turns off.
Yeah, it manages the heat.
Oh, it does.
You know, it does come on and off as needed. So. All right. And the water pump's located right here.
Okay.
And it does have a water filter right here, which has a brand new filter in it.
How often does it need to be changed?
I recommend at least once a year. The refrigerator also has another water filter in it. And these things you can open up, you know, if you want to bring in hoses and stuff up through the bottom and still be able to close the door. Low point drains here. One's your hot water line, one's a cold water line. That's for getting the water out of the system.
What does it drain to or into?
It just
comes out of that.
It just drains right out the bottom here.
Oh, okay.
So we can just drain out through the bottom here.
Okay.
One's a hot water line, one's a cold water line. It goes to all your faucets inside.
Okay.
So when you want to get all the water out of the system, just open those up. Go open up all the faucets, the shower and everything, and all the water will just drain out through the bottom. Okay?
Yep.
Any questions about that?
Well,
It's just a matter of getting out there and hooking it up once.
yeah.
It does have some directions here.
Okay.
If you forget any of that stuff.
Okay. Cool.
Just make sure these doors are shut
Yeah.
before you go anywhere. If you might be driving down there and you look in your mirror and you see one of the doors hanging out like this.
Yeah.
It's not good. Back here, this is your power cord.
Okay.
It's about 20 to 25 feet long. And this is a 50 amp service.
Okay. Can it hook to a 30 amp if that's all they've got?
Yes. There's an adapter in here for that. And this is a 50 to 30 adapter.
Okay.
And basically it goes on the end of that cord. Just plug it in here, and then there's your 30 amp. Plug it in. You may be limited to running only one AC at a time if you're hooked to a 30 amp service.
Right. If you're on 50, you can run pretty much everything. So how does this cable wind up?
It actually has a button on it, yeah. Right here.
Yeah. And then to take it out, is there... Oh,
take it out, you just grab it and pull it out.
Pull it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I usually just kind of help it, you know, as it's turning.
Uh-huh.
Just kind of help it in there.
Okay.
It's got a cover here for when you're traveling. Otherwise they got some storage in here.
Uh-huh.
And you do have a transfer switch there. Works with the generator. What it does is if you fire up the generator, like we're hooked up to power now, if you fire up the generator, this will automatically disconnect your shoreline and the generator will take over power.
Okay. But if the generator's off, it's going to grab power from this thing.
And it also has built-in surge protection there, which is real good.
Oh, good. Yeah. So that'll protect you both from the shore, from the shoreline. That protects you.
Yeah.
The generator isn't going to have a. That doesn't need it, I guess.
Shouldn't, but it is running through
But
here.
it goes through there anyway. Okay. Can I look at the adapter on there, just so I know how that works? So it just plugs into a 50 amp deal.
Yeah. Okay. Most places you go to will have a setup similar to this. 50 amp, 30 amp, an additional 15 or 10 amp plug there for anything you might want to hook up.
Okay.
Got breakers here for each one of them.
Yeah.
Generally, when you go to plug it in, you'll turn the breaker off first.
Oh, okay.
Plug it in, and then turn it on.
Then turn the breaker on.
Yeah.
And unplugging it, would you reverse that?
Same thing. Yeah, when you go to unplug it, turn it off, unplug it.
Okay.
It just keeps for, you know, surging and arcing and things like that.
Right. Okay. Cool.
And they'll have a water connection just like this too. We can hook your water hose up.
Okay.
Just your battery compartment here.
Okay.
This thing has a bunch of batteries. Got an inverter here. This inverter takes care of charging your batteries whenever you're plugged in.
Will it charge when the generator's running
Yes.
on the engine?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it charges three ways.
Okay.
When you're traveling down the road, it's charging the batteries, generator, or offshore power. The inverter on this also provides 110 power inside when you're traveling down the road without running a generator.
It just pulls out of the battery and converts it.
Converts it to 110. So you cannot run the ACs off of that,
Right.
but you can run the TVs. And most importantly on this unit is the refrigerator.
Okay.
Because the refrigerator is residential.
So
it doesn't switch between gas and
it's only electric.
electric.
And how to keep that thing cold? How much power is it drawing from the batteries? I mean, does it run them down pretty quickly?
Not really, no.
Yeah.
No. I left it on overnight with the inverter on and not plugged in, and it was still going in the morning. It had ice in it.
Okay.
It'll last a while. As long as you know, we got everything on full blast and everything. You know, you're going to see some battery drop.
Right.
But, traveling down the road, like I said, they're charging while you're going down the road.
And how long are these batteries rated for? Like, probably would I need to replace them?
You're probably looking more like 3 to 5 years.
3 to 5?
5 years. Yeah.
5 years? Okay.
It'll last a while.
Okay.
I would recommend, you know, getting them serviced at least once a year. These house batteries here, you know, they all take distilled water, so you want to make sure they don't dry up or anything like that. This has a smart charging system on it, so it shouldn't be burning up batteries or overcharging batteries.
Okay. Cool.
So like if you're just plugged in all the time, you know,
It won't
burn up the battery. Got 2 chassis batteries here on top. Those are what crank the engine.
Okay.
And all these other ones are house batteries.
To start the generator, there must be an electric motor in there. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And is it drawing off these two as well?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Cool.
So as far as the inverter operation, it's pretty much all automatic. But there is an inverter panel inside where you can look at it, get information as far as what the status is of your batteries, how, you know, they're charging, both charging, float charging, and stuff like that. There's just an on-off switch for your inverter that you want to turn it on, make sure the fridge stays on when you're traveling. That's all there is to it. All right.
Yep.
Questions about that? Back here is the engine compartment. Basically back here, this is where you'll be checking the oil if you want to check your oil. And where the oil fill would be. Transmission oil dipsticks here. And then this monitors your air filter on this thing. So basically this thing starts at the bottom and goes up. When it gets all the way up to the top, it's saying it's time to change the air filter.
And that's inside, or is
The
it?
air filter? It's actually...
Or it's down
it's
here?
in here, yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm not going to do that.
No, it's a big old monster. It is.
How long does that last generally?
It really just depends on how much you drive it,
Okay.
what kind of conditions are in. So,
In the next year or two, am I going to have to be dealing with it? I mean, if
probably
I just
a couple
average
years.
use,
Yeah.
couple years.
Yeah, it's not going to be real quick.
Okay. Cool.
But really, shouldn't be doing anything back here.
Yeah, I don't want to get into that stuff.
If you're having any issues with that, you can bring it in. Just set up your towing. This is the water heater here. It is a 10-gallon tank. So there's nothing for you to do out here. It's all controlled from the inside.
Okay.
You either flip a switch for electric or you flip a switch for gas. Oh, there goes. That's running on LP.
Right.
It's just the engine compartment here. Muffler. And it's got a hydraulic pump there. That hydraulic pump operates the leveling system on the coach.
Okay. So having this mud guard in place, if I'm towing a vehicle, should I still have put a guard up in front of it, or will that catch stuff?
If you're concerned about it, you get
one
additional protection. Because that won't stop everything. Yeah, if you're setting up a tow vehicle, they got these big old things you can put right on the front of it that'll block rocks, things like that.
Okay. Alrighty.
But nothing to do back here really either.
Yeah.
This is your DEF tank here. Where you'll be putting the diesel exhaust fluid.
So it's not very full right now.
Yeah, I'll get some room.
So once it's full, you said it should go about 5,000 to 10,000 miles. And it's just the diesel fuel is what you put in there, just like you put in the regular tank?
No.
This is a different stuff.
Yeah, it's diesel exhaust fluid.
Oh,
It's called DEF.
DEF, okay.
And you can buy that at any truck stop, any auto parts store.
Do they come in they don't come out of a pump. It doesn't come out of a pump.
Some truck stops do have it at the pump.
Oh. But if they don't, you just buy
You
some
can
container.
buy it in, like a bottle like you would buy antifreeze in. Or you can get the big box, which you'll probably need on this. You can get a big old box. And it has a nozzle on it and everything. You can just pour it on.
Pour it in there. Okay.
It's usually better to get the big box on something like this.
Okay.
Remember, when you go to fill it, that gauge won't move unless you have
turn the ignition on.
unless you have the ignition on.
Okay.
If you're filling it and it's not moving anywhere, that's fine. Courtesy lights.
Okay.
Got a switch on the dashboard for that. Those lights don't come on when you're traveling down the road, but like when you're parked, you can turn on those courtesy lights for packing and unpacking and things like that. does have a central vacuum system on it. And this is where the vacuum is located.
Is there any maintenance, like a filter on there?
There's a bag. Yeah, there's a bag here. There's dirt double bags. There's a hose kit inside. It has all the attachments, hoses, and everything.
Okay.
That'll reach all throughout the coach.
That's a nice feature.
So there's just one place in there. You just stick the hose in. When you put the hose in, it'll turn on automatically.
Okay.
And go from there. Just the other gravity fill for your freshwater tank.
Freshwater. Okay.
And this is just a pegboard compartment.
Do people like hang tools on it?
Yeah, you can hang
or something?
tools, extension cords, you know, things like that, of that nature. You can do that. It doesn't come with pegs, so you have to get your own.
Okay.
For some reason, it does have a 110 plug out here and another 12 volt. Just need to plug something in. And once again, this is storage.
And you were saying about this ladder that it has to be put up on the roof to get up there?
Yeah, it has to be hung on the last rung of the ladder that's on there right now.
Oh, gotcha. So you can get up to the ladder.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just goes on like that.
Okay, that makes sense. Cool.
But you don't want to leave it on there.
It'll flop around.
Yeah.
That water heater's still running. Is there even water in there?
And what?
The water heater?
Oh yeah.
This is the outside entertainment?
That is. There's more storage here. I'm missing a key for this. I need to order you one.
Okay.
I had to go steal a key from another unit to open it.
Oh.
This thing just came out of detail. But yeah, here's your other TV. Outside TV. Got remotes and everything inside.
Okay.
And then this is actually a DVD player as well. So you can watch DVD movies on this TV.
Dog I have ever seen. Seriously, this dog.
So there's an antenna on here that...
This dog is a cow.
Yeah, to pick up local channels wherever you're at. Just whenever you go somewhere new, you got to go to each TV and do a channel search.
Load it, acquire, figure out what
new channels.
Alright.
And then this is also a radio for outside as well.
It's got all the tools you need to make your own part. That is great, Mrs. C. Thank you. And now all it needs is Jackson's and that.
There's a remote for this too as well. So there's two remotes you can use.
Alright.
And it's got USB hookups and stuff.
Okay.
And input on there for your phone. This thing is wired up for satellite. I don't know if you're planning on using the satellite or not.
Yeah, I knew it was wired for it. I probably won't.
But I mean, it gets tons of local channels if you're anywhere near the city.
Okay.
It does have an LP outlet there.
So you can fill external tanks with it or something?
It's more than an external
Plug
grill.
Grill.
that here, or you can get hoses and hook it up to your own.
We're gonna do the awning.
Alright, right here by the entry door, you got light switches. Luggage light, turns on all the lights in the storage compartment. Entry light, it's just these two lights over the door. Porch light, which you can get two porch lights out here. And then step on and off.
Is that to bring this thing out?
No, what it does is turn these off. So like if you're stationary like you are right now and you don't want them going in and out every time you open the door,
then you just
turn them off.
Turn it off.
And they stay out.
And when you're ready to drive, you turn it on and then it'll come back in.
Yeah, or it's also hooked to the ignition. So if you start this thing, they're going to come in.
Regardless of what that's set to. Okay.
That way you can't drive down the road with that. Battery cutoff switches here. You got a main and auxiliary. That's battery disconnect when you put it in storage.
So nothing, it can't drain if you turn those off because it disconnects the battery from everything.
Yep. One's your chassis battery.
Okay.
And the other one's going to be your house battery.
Got it.
So that'll be the last thing you do when you're walking out of here. Bam, bam. Hit those buttons, everything will go off. You're good to go.
Super.
When you come in the coach, that'll be the first thing you do. I do notice on this coach that they are hooked to the ignition, so if you just start this thing up, they'll automatically turn on.
Oh, really?
Start charging.
Okay.
Do what they need to do.
That's cool. That's nice in case you forgot. When we test drove this, these armrests are kind of up high, and Daryl said that they probably need to be adjusted. Does that sound like to you?
Have an adjustment. Yeah. See this hole down? If you stick your finger in there, you can feel a wheel.
Oh, right.
Really?
Oh, I feel it. Okay.
Turn the right way.
Yeah, it's going down.
I just learned that myself the other day.
Close. It's about right there. Okay. Cool. All right. Good to know that.
Gonna take a seat.
Driving down the road, does this need to be tied together or these doors?
Yeah, there is a clip.
Yeah.
Actually, on the side. It just
Holy
goes around.
cow. It's too good for life.
Yeah, you do want to do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's look at the main control panel up here real quick. Okay, up here you got, up here this shows your tank levels.
Okay.
You see it says black, gray, fresh, LPG is propane. So if you hold the button there, it says tank test.
Uh-huh.
And I need to drain these tanks out. So I filled them up with water. But
Right.
propane is full. Fresh water is showing 2/3.
Yeah.
Gray is showing 2/3 and black is showing 1/3.
Okay.
So that's where you check all your tanks. The other button is just if you want to check the battery levels.
Uh-huh.
You got your main and auxiliary.
Okay.
Main being your chassis batteries and auxiliaries your house battery.
And what would be low? What would like? What's the numbers that shows that it's charged right now?
When it's plugged in and charging, it should be like over 13 volts.
Okay.
Typically.
If it gets below what, does it become a concern?
Well, if it gets too low, you'll notice the lights start dimming and things like that.
Okay, so I don't need to come check this all the time. I'd notice it.
Yes, you'll notice it.
Okay.
Yeah. But you can monitor it to kind of get a feel of, you know, how much battery life you got if you're just sitting here not plugged in and don't have a generator running.
Right.
You know, you can kind of monitor it, get an idea. electric. This is your water heater controls.
Okay.
You either just turn it on electric, or turn it on gas.
Okay.
That's simple. The other control, this is the inverter control panel that I was telling you about.
Yeah.
You press it once, it'll come on so you can see it.
Yeah.
And it's showing your battery status.
Uh-huh.
And it's float charging, which means it's fully charged and it's just maintaining it.
Okay.
If the batteries are low, you may see it bulk charging, you know, which means it's, you know, seriously charging.
Right. Okay.
If you press it one more time, you'll see a little green light come on.
Yeah.
It says I and V underneath it, which means inverter.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you turn it on to activate it, to keep your fridge running. It'll activate some of these plugs and some TVs that you can use while you're driving down the road without having to have the generator running.
Gotcha. Okay.
But the most important thing is you have to have it on to keep that fridge on while you're traveling.
Okay.
Keep your food from spoiling.
All right.
That's really all you need to know about that.
Okay.
It does do more stuff, but you don't need to get in there and start playing with it.
Okay. That's fine with me. Keep it simple. Yeah.
This one here, this is another start and stop switch for your generator.
Okay.
The main control panel. Basically, and you can do a little reading on this on the manual, but you can set your generator to start and stop at certain times of the day using that control panel.
Okay.
Otherwise, you can just start it and stop it here. There's another one on the dashboard and one in the bedroom to start it. Power control system. All this does is give you information. You can scroll through it. Shows your line status, where you're plugged into out back. Line 1 and line 2, how many volts you got coming in, how many amps you're using, things like that. Shows if we got a good ground, a good neutral and everything where you plug in. Because you could, you know, if you get plugged into a bad outlet somewhere at a campsite, it can cause damage.
Right.
So you can check this, you know, get an idea if there's a problem or not.
Okay.
You let him figure all that out.
Yeah.
You gonna be the captain?
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah, now it's showing that you're at a 50 amp service. You have a generator running, it would show you if you're on generator power and how many amps you're using.
Turn down just a little so I can record things. Well, that works.
This is for the leveling system. We'll get into that in a minute.
Okay.
This switch here is a multi-function switch. So basically you use the select button to scroll through it. You got door awning, patio awning, step cover, which is this one here.
Okay.
Driver slide,
That's that one.
and door awning. So those are the only
What's
functions
just
it
the
does.
slide on this side?
This one is the full wall slide. Okay, so it has its own control.
Oh, it's
panel
the
here.
deal. Okay.
It's this one.
Got it.
And then, right, you got one in the back too. Right? It's just this one and
yeah.
this one.
Oh, no, I think there's only
Yeah,
two.
it's just the two.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the big one, and the driver slide one is done with this one.
Okay.
So you pick the one you want to use, door awning, pull down, extend. Door awning is this one right here.
Okay.
Extend and retract. And the other one is your patio awning.
That's the big one over the side there.
Yeah. That one, you hold it down for 2 seconds and let it go, it just keeps on going.
Okay.
If you think you're going to hit something, you can panic, hit any button, it'll stop.
It'll stop. Okay.
It does have wind sensors on it, so if it gets too windy, it'll just supposed to bring itself
come back in.
And on the keys there, you'll see a remote. There's a long remote on there.
Yeah.
That remote works the awnings as well.
Okay.
So you got your door and patio
Okay.
awnings on there. And then you got a key fob.
The other one's for the locking
Entry
door. Okay. Are the locks on the storage compartment doors manual, or are they operated by?
They're manual, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they require a key.
Yeah, and we got a key on there for that.
Okay.
Yep, this is Discovery. You have to get the Revolution. You get the you get one button and it locks all the door locks on the storage.
I'll get that next.
The next model up.
I thought Daryl said it was on this one.
Yeah, he must have probably got confused.
Yeah, he does it sometimes. When you work with so many different units all the time,
yeah,
you get
It's hard
confused.
to keep it all straight. Yeah, keep it all straight.
Okay, so that's that. You understand all that?
Yep.
Step cover. If you need to start the engine, the step cover won't work unless the motor's running.
Okay.
And it tells you that you got to start the engine.
Okay.
Thermostat. This is your main thermostat for the whole unit.
Okay.
So you've got system, zone, and mode. System just picks which system you want to use, hot or heating or cooling.
Okay.
That's it. It's on cool. And zone, you pick which zone you want to work with. You got zone 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Pick the zone you want to work with and use the mode button to change your options on that zone. You got fan, high, low, cool, and heat. And then pick the temperature with the other two buttons.
Alright. Pretty standard.
Yep. Okay, so the other two things, we're going to level the coach and open up the slide outs.
Okay.
So normally you will level the coach before you run your slide outs, unless you're just at a rest stop or something and you just want to run them out for a little bit, bring it back in. But if you're going to be there and you're going to level the coach, you're going to want to put the jacks down first.
Okay.
So in order to put the leveling system down, you have to have the motor running.
Okay.
If you want to go ahead and start the
Start the
engine.
engine.
Okay. Same with the slide outs. The slide outs won't work unless the motor's running.
Okay.
Once you've got the motor running, there's an on-off button here.
Yeah.
You can press on. And you're going to wait for the wait button to stop flashing.
Okay.
At that point,
So is it doing this? Oh, it's
it's not doing anything
not
yet.
doing anything. Okay.
Right now, it's got 4 diamonds on here.
Uh-huh.
This is basically telling you how level or not level you are at this point. So right now, the front's down, slightly leaning to the right.
Okay. So if it's blinking, it's down slightly, and if it's solid, it's down further.
No, basically, this is just a level here.
Oh.
Okay, and as you move the coach, you'll see the lights shift and change. And
Oh.
what it does is gets all the lights to go out. And
Yeah.
once all the lights go out, this level, the green light in the middle comes on.
And then it's done. Okay.
You can do that manually. There's a manual mode, or you can go into auto, which is what you'll normally use.
Yeah.
Just press the auto button and wait.
Huh?
You're into auto buttons.
I will always use the auto button. I can't imagine.
If you ever want to
why I
manipulate
do
the
it.
jacks, you can go to manual
What would
mode.
be the reason to do manual?
And you might get in situations where if you're in really unlevel
It's not quite
situation
working.
or something like that, yeah, you can play with it. You still need to find someplace fairly level.
Yeah.
You know, there's only so much stroke on those jacks.
Yeah.
But the biggest part of it is, you know, it keeps the unit from moving around and stuff while you're like walking in the coach.
Yeah.
It makes
gives
it
it
secure.
stability. It's getting cold in here.
Yeah, let's turn the. Can we turn the heater on?
Yeah.
Let's do that. bed is a sleep number bed.
Mm-hmm.
It's a sleep number.
Okay, so green light in the middle came on. Good to go.
Okay.
At
At
that
that
point-
point, you turn it off.
You can either shut it off here,
Uh-huh.
or if you just shut the key off, it'll
Then it'll
shut
turn
it
it
off.
off.
So now that that's out, we can run our slides out. We'll do the driver slide first. Before you run these slides out, guys, you got to make sure the chairs are out of the way.
These chairs.
Yeah, because if they're leaned back too far, the slide out's going to tear it back.
Okay.
We'll select the driver slide on here and hold the extend button down.
That's the coolest freaking thing I've ever seen in my life.
Just wait till you see this side. It's massive. It's
Oh, that's the whole like.
the whole length of the chair. It's a big
Okay, so that one's out. We're going to run the big one out now. This one may not always go out right away. Just sit there and hold the button.
It has these clamps.
Got these locks. Again, they're going to unlock first. If you hold the button, it doesn't seem like it wants to do anything. Just let the coach run a little bit. It's real sensitive to voltage. It needs like almost 14 volts to push this thing
So I may
on.
have to do a little charging or something. to
Yeah,
get
maybe.
to that point.
There you go. Wow.
That is a big slide out.
Awesome.
Yeah, I probably. Well, all of us are. Yeah, we probably need to learn all that. Daryl gave, I drove it a few days ago,
Mhm.
so I know the basics of like putting the transmission in.
Yeah. Remember, there's no park in it, so
Yeah,
put it in neutral and put the air brake on.
okay.
You put it in neutral, don't put the air brake on, it can roll away. So you can make sure that you put the brake on.
Okay. Now, if the motor's not running, will the brakes work? So, like, if it was in neutral and the engine's off and the thing starts to roll, can you put the brake on and have it stop, or do you need to
Mhm.
turn the engine on?
No, yeah, you can do the brake. It should still stop.
There's still pressure in there. Okay.
In any case, just pull that button and it's going to lock up the brakes.
Oh, the parking brake.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll work without the engine on.
Absolutely.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Okay.
It works off of air pressure. Huh?
Sorry, on these slide outs, are there any sensors in case there's something that they would hit? So you gotta really check first.
You kind of get used to how much room you need, but it doesn't hurt to have someone outside watching. Is that an auxiliary start?
Spencer, you probably want to watch this stuff.
Now you can watch the video.
Oh, that's true. Never mind it. It's okay.
Yeah, auxiliary start. What that's for is if your chassis batteries are dead, you can't start the motor. You can connect your house batteries up to the engine to start it.
Okay.
It's a momentary switch, so you just hold it down while you turn the key
Okay.
until it starts. That also works both ways. If your house batteries are dead and you're trying to start the generator and generator won't start, you can hit that button and it'll connect the chassis batteries and you can start the generator.
Okay. Cool.
There's ways to manipulate your power.
Right.
It's got all steering wheel controls as far as your windshield wipers and your cruise control. It does have a main light switch here. It's for your lights.
Okay.
But also on here you've got this button just flashes your headlights.
It
So when you push it,
like brights to.
it just flashes.
Oh,
It turns it
flashes.
off, turns it on.
Okay.
And this one on this side flashes your running lights.
Ah.
Like the orange lights on top, like truckers do when they're passing each other and they flash their lights. That's what that would do. Push that button.
When do people flash their headlights? Like what kind of in a big vehicle like this? Is there
Whatever you want to, I guess.
okay? There's no like unwritten rule about it.
No, it's just just like when you're driving your own car and you flash your lights, people
Right.
tell them to go when they're sitting at a stop sign or something like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Turn signals. You got turn signal cameras.
So left side, right side.
Yep, left side, right side. Picture of the door. And it should always default back to the rear camera. And it does have fog lights. Got a fog light switch too.
Okay.
It's got suspension area. You can dump the airbags with that switch,
Okay.
which is generally what you're supposed to do before you level the coach.
Oh.
Just drop it, and you'll feel the coach drop down a little bit,
Mhm.
and then when you put the jacks down, it'll kind of raise it up a little bit.
Okay.
Before you go to drive, though, again, you bring the jacks up. You need to put it back to auto,
Okay.
and when the unit's running, it'll gradually come back up.
Okay.
It also has a joystick here. This joystick works with this control panel here. Whenever you first turn the key on, it's going to come up with this pre-trip checklist.
Okay.
All it is, it's nothing for you to change or anything. It's just information for you to check stuff.
Like a pre-flight on a
Exactly.
plane, sort of deal.
Same thing, yeah. Jacks, make sure your jacks are up. You know, check the tow vehicle, tire pressure, engine maintenance. Make sure the antenna is down. It's kind of old because your antenna doesn't go up or down.
Right.
It's stationary. It's not like the old crank up. So you don't have to worry about that. Once you're done messing with that, you just go to the left, and it'll take you to the main panel where it shows your generator hours, date, time. It shows your odometer. And you can scroll down. It'll show your fuel economy, trip fuel, road speed, transmission temperature, all that good. That's something you just have to get in there and play with.
Yeah.
You can set your trip meter and everything in there.
Okay.
Radio, it's got Bluetooth navigation. Right? Yeah, it's got navigation on there and everything.
Yeah, we're good on that because once we'll figure it all out. Take care of it for me.
And enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
You turn on the seat heater?
Yeah.
Where's that? Is
Let's
that
get
in
one.
that controller?
No, it's on the side.
On the side of the seat. Yeah. You got controls here for the heat. All these switches down here, they're all labeled. So you got your fan on this side. You got one for that side.
This leather is so soft.
Visors.
So when we were test driving it, I don't know if it's this coach or the other one.
It was the other one.
Oh, the other one? Okay, never mind. There was some rattling noise and Daryl was trying to fix it, but I guess it wasn't this one.
These shades up front will only go down so far when you have the key on.
Oh, okay.
If you want to go all the way down, you have to shut it off,
Got it.
and then we'll go all the way down. That's so I guess you can't put them all the way down while you're trying to drive down the road.
It's actually nice if the sun was shining really
Yeah.
bright.
That's what it's for. All those little pink tags you can take off.
Okay.
I don't know why detail doesn't take them off.
Do all of them have that blackout one too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all the rest of them are, you gotta pull them down. But yeah, they all have a black and a day and a night shade. Generator start and stop.
Okay.
Auxiliary USB port.
So you can start the generator without going to the front and just pulling it out and all.
Oh yeah.
You can start it up there too.
Okay.
You can start it here, you can start it up there, and then just switch by the bed.
And is it the same concept? You just have to hold it until it starts.
Yeah, they all work the same way. So, the only real reason you need to fire up a generator while you're traveling down the road in this thing would be to run the roof AC.
Oh.
If you have a bunch of people in here and it's hot, whatever.
Everything else can run off the
Everything else you can run off the inverter. Radio, park, and it says park and travel. All that does is switches your radio power between chassis, battery, and house power. So if you have it set on radio, it's going to function like your car, where if you turn the key off, it shuts off.
Right.
But if you're camping or whatever, and you don't want to have the ignition on in your radio, switch it over to park. The radio will come on.
Okay.
You don't have to worry about the ignition. And then the last switch there is just the lock for the entry door.
So it works the same as hitting the button.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are we gonna drive it today then?
I think so. I think Daryl, if he has time, might come with us.
Does it
Other
have
than
to be
that,
with us?
fuel gauge. The green bars here,
Yep.
that indicates your DEF fluid.
So if it's 3 bars green, it's full, and then it goes down as a
Yeah,
empties.
yeah. It's actually 4 bars. When I fill it up, it'll be. Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions about this stuff up here?
What are these two? Is that the air pressure system?
That's your for your airbags.
Airbags.
And if this thing's been sitting a long time, when you fire it up, you might hear a constant buzzing sound until those get up to over 65 centimeters. It'll stop buzzing after.
Okay. All right. I think I got it.
Turn on these fans.
It's a switch.
That's one on both sides. And then you got your AC controls there. AC and heat.
Okay.
That chair has a foot thing that comes out.
You messed with it the other day.
All right. We have the fridge. This is a regular household fridge. Got ice in there. You can turn it on and off there.
Where's the filter?
Filter is located down here.
Oh, okay. And there's an indicator when it needs to be checked.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
You also want to remember to empty the ice out when you go put it in storage.
Yeah.
What happens is it melts and then it goes all over the place. Yeah.
Okay.
Dishwasher. I ran this through a cycle. You can set your cycle here,
Yeah.
what you want, and there's just a start button. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
The stove, it has a piezo igniter on it, so you just turn it on the one you want. Spark it a few times. The oven has a pilot light. Oh no, you don't have it.
So so there's no pilot light on here
No.
at all.
No, you just spark it. Turn on the one you want.
That reminds me, does the coach have like a smoke detector and like if there's a leak in the propane?
Of course.
Okay. So I figured they would.
Okay, down here is the propane leak detector. That one.
And that'll just emit the audible alarm.
Yeah, it'll sound just like a smoke alarm. Sometimes those things just go bad. Start going off. They won't shut up.
Yeah.
So if that happens, just take the two screws out, cut the wire on the back of it, and bring it back in.
Right.
I've seen it happen before. Sometimes certain aerosols will set that thing off.
It's convection oven and microwave.
I'll have you get a cookbook with that, and the manuals. When you go through finance, they'll give you other manuals.
Yeah, it sounds like these mini TVs right here.
Yeah, cool, huh?
I wonder if there's a way to hook it up to like a computer screen. So I can just like do my work and
Maybe. It's a small screen, yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, there's remotes for those too. These are all just drawers. In here, there's a water pump switch.
Okay, same as the one on the outside. What does the fan switch go to?
This fan switch goes to this fan here.
Oh, this one up here?
Yeah. You can actually.
And you get fresh air from the outside.
It's actually going like that.
Oh, no. So it's like ventilating. Off your
Burn
kitchen
and
style. Gotcha.
There's another one of those in the bathroom. Yeah. There's another panel like that in the bathroom. And then you got a light switch here.
What do people use that for, like cleaning supplies?
Yeah, sponges or whatnot. The DVD player is located up here. So you got your home theater up here.
That goes to any of the TVs?
This
or
will work.
that one?
These, isn't there no? Yeah, these two.
Oh, okay.
These two. The one in the back doesn't have a DVD player on it, but it has connections in the cabinet if you want to hook up whatever you want to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Alright.
Satellite, this turn the satellite on and off. Is up here.
Okay.
And if you were going to be putting satellite in here, this is where you'd be putting a satellite box. This system's actually set up for 2 receivers. So you put one receiver here and it would control these 2 TVs. And then put one receiver in the bedroom, that would do the bedroom and the outside.
Okay. Is this an in-motion satellite receiver, or do you have to be stationary?
I want to say it is. It's a road trip. So
And down below it
believe
says
it is.
in-motion satellite.
Oh, it does, yeah.
Okay.
That's where like DirecTV.
Direct TV and stuff.
Yeah, it'll work with either one,
Yeah.
depending on which one you want.
Okay.
This front TV, however, is hooked to the ignition.
Uh-huh.
So when you start the vehicle, this TV will shut off. It won't work.
They don't want the driver watching TV while they're driving.
Right.
But then it's worse because they're going to turn around and watch that one.
You set the cruise control and then walk back
Yeah.
there.
Exactly.
There's your most for all this stuff.
Uh-huh.
It's just a matter of setting your TV input, you know, HDMI 1, HDMI 2
Right.
on the TVs.
Okay.
And then show you what was up here. This is a controller for the awnings,
Okay.
and you can set wind speed. I said it had a wind
Right.
speed temperature sensor on it. I'm gonna put it on the lowest setting, but you know, if it gets too windy, it'll bring itself
At
in.
3 tries. Okay.
That's where you set that stuff.
Got it. So all of these cabinets are strong enough to stay shut while you're traveling down the road. You don't have to secure them anymore.
No. No.
Same with the drawers.
Yeah, they all got latches on them.
Okay.
They're all pretty secure.
Alright.
And that light has its own switch on it. Underneath. And then all these got lights underneath everything here.
Okay.
Here's your smoke alarm.
Yeah.
Light switches. These are just to use living room lights here.
Oh, okay.
You can actually dim the lights.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So So is this stationary or does it swivel? It just stays right there.
Right there.
Okay. I'm glad I didn't yank it out.
Yeah. If you break it right in front of me, it's not warranty.
Yeah.
So you got all back door remotes.
Car replacement. We'll pay for a car that's a model year newer.
Everything's Sony, so all the remotes
in your
work.
old one. See car insurance in a whole new light. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Is the antenna for that up in the satellite dish, or is it a different?
No, that's this right here. This would be actually TV antenna. And the little lights there give you an idea of how much signal you're getting.
Ah.
You can turn it in whatever direction.
Okay.
And that's also connected to this here. It says on antenna, off park cable.
Yeah.
So if you were to hook up park cable in the back, you just turn this off.
Oh, and then it'll feed in from.
Yeah, bypass the antenna.
Is there a jack on the outside? I don't remember seeing one.
Yeah, there should be one in that back utility compartment. When we're looking at it.
Okay. I probably just missed it.
You'll notice it shuts off when I turn it off.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. Okay.
But it's got to be on if you want to get any signal on your antenna.
What's this one?
It's on here.
That's for that.
That's
That's when you lower that door.
There's in a box back there. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but there's 4 wooden pegs that go on the bottom of this table.
Gotcha.
To get it support. So when you put it down, if they're supporting it?
Yeah. And there's a release, the handle here. You can push it down. You put the legs on it, push it all the way down.
When you're traveling, is it okay to have this up? Or yeah, it's strong enough.
And you can actually, there's another release right here. Big handle. Pull it down. And you can move this table. Let's get it to where you want to and just lock it. And these have doors in them. Lever underneath, you got to release it. Pull it out. Bring the sofa bed there. Pull out. And your central vac is right here.
So that's when you plug it in, it turns on?
Yeah. Yeah, there's 2 little contacts here. When you plug the hose in, it just comes out.
Where's the hose?
In the closet, there's a whole hose kit back there. It's got extensions on it and all the attachments. Super hose on it that will actually stretch all throughout the hood. Big numbers.
So it's actually adjustable. Sweet. I didn't know I had that. That was just a normal mattress.
Here's your generator switch.
Ah, right. Okay. It's nice the generator's on the other side of the cage. The sleeping areas.
The diesel generator is pretty quiet compared to like the smaller gas generators.
Okay, you were saying this TV is not hooked to the DVD system, right?
No.
In the front. So, okay, but here's the HDMI for it, I guess.
This HDMI is for just where you put the second satellite box.
Oh, right, okay.
So what it does is it has a splitter on here. So if you put the satellite box here, it would go to here and to the outside TV.
Okay.
Of course, you can hook whatever you want there.
Yeah.
If you want to put a Blu-ray or DVD, you can do that too. And it'll run the outside TV as well.
Ah, okay. Cool. All right.
Got an emergency exit.
Yeah, how do those work? You just flip the red
Just
tab
flip
and then the window pops out.
Yeah. You jump to your death.
Better jump to than to be inside.
Yes. It's a better death.
This bed is so big. Like, it'd just be along the road.
Yeah, it's a little bouncier back here, but you could, if you were tired, you could sleep pretty good.
Lindy
While
would
you're
sleep
traveling.
really well. She loves motion.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, I think the motion would be nice.
When the slide is in, this comes right up to the cabinets.
So you get to feel nice and cozy. You'll just like.
Oh, right.
Washer and dryer.
So these are electric,
Yes. So you have to be plugged in, or have the generator.
or have the generator in it. Okay. And it draws water from the freshwater tank.
Or if you're hooked
Or
up
if
to
you're
the
on-
hose house. So if
And
you're
when they drain, do they go into the gray tank or the black?
not, you go
Gray,
right
right?
to the gray.
Okay.
So make sure that gray tank's not full when you do 11 laundry.
Right.
You don't want to flood your coat.
Agreed.
Preferably, you'll have a hose hooked up out there with the tank open. You don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
It's pretty straightforward. Just pick what wash you want.
Mhm.
Hit the start button.
Okay.
You put your soap in here.
Yeah. They don't require any special type of chemicals or anything. Okay.
The regular Whirlpool washer and dryer.
Uh huh. So the washer's on the bottom. That's the dryer up there, right? Okay. Pretty straightforward.
I've already ran everything through a cycle. So
Okay. All works.
we should be in good working order. Back here is your. This is the hose kit here.
Okay. For the vacuum.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's got
Yeah, it's
everything.
got everything in there.
Okay. Very good.
And it comes with a box of goodies. Just the box where they pretty much throw all the miscellaneous stuff in. Air hoses.
Okay.
The 4 legs for the table in there.
Mm-hmm.
They're in here. This goes to the convection oven.
Okay.
Both of these go with that. Wrench for the water filter outside.
Right.
That big white canister.
Yeah.
You just slip this on there and you can turn it.
Okay.
Make sure you relieve the water pressure out the system.
Or-
Turn the water off before you do that. This wrench, if you notice on those back wheels, it's got in the center a big round center cap
Mm-hmm.
with a it says Freightliner on it.
Yeah.
This wrench is for that. If you put it on that symbol and turn it, you can take that off.
Ah.
If someone needs to change a tire or something like that. This you'll probably never use. It comes with it. Water pressure regulator. You can put this on at the faucet outside and hook your hose up to it, and it'll regulate your water pressure.
Okay.
Keep it.
Is that recommended? Do a lot of people do that?
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
It kind of just depends on where you're at.
Mm.
You know, it's probably good. Might ask someone if you need it.
Mm-hmm.
Some places have higher water pressure than others. So. For your dishwasher.
Okay.
And it's just a cutoff valve,
Okay.
I guess. What you would use it for. I think it might go to the shower.
Mm.
Chemical for your black tank. But like I said, if you get a starter kit, you'll get some different stuff that,
Right.
like I said, you just drop it right down into the tank.
Did you find your number?
It's going down right now. I'm trying to get it down to 5, see how that feels.
Takes a while, huh?
Yeah.
You got a pretty good cavity there forming.
I got a pretty good one.
Cavity forming right there.
Yeah. Then my fill. Fills it pretty quick.
Light switch. Light switches everywhere.
Yeah. Is that a smoke detector over there?
This one's a carbon monoxide.
Carbon monoxide. Are there, since the engine's right down below here, is there any risk of fumes or anything?
Well, it's not supposed to be, but
Yeah.
you know, I'm sure that's why that carbon monoxide detector is back here.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Is it hanging there, or it looks like it's almost disconnected? It's securely on there. I guess it's just at an angle.
It's on there.
Okay.
Is it working?
Cool.
All right, these doors here have a foot release.
Okay.
Then you can just lock them back in foot as well. Toilet's pretty straightforward. Basically, you just hold it down a little bit, put some water in it.
Then you push it all the way in it.
And it's got a sprayer there you can spray it out with.
Okay.
Another water pump switch there. Shower, it's a shower.
Yeah.
Make sure this is locked
Okay.
when you're driving. What do you think?
I think I got it.
Think so?
Yeah, I think I can handle it.
Let's take it for a spin.
I just recorded what you just said.
Oh. Now I'm committed. We have to go finish the paperwork and stuff.